Lord, it's been 2 weeks I haven't been here, but hey, I'm right here. I'm back. My name is Cindy Fierce One, and welcome to this My Random Thoughts, a moment where I get to think randomly, not in my mind, but out here. I felt like I needed to explain to people what they are, because y'all keep coming to my comment section and you're like, oh, this and this and this and this. I want to remind you the name of this channel. Random Thoughts. I am randomly thinking out loud. Anywho, sagala tandika shonga ndi munyivu lero. So, without further ado, welcome. After I came off the last episode, I remember some of the things that we're talking about. We were talking about the bombings that happened in Kampala, and we felt they were a little bit of the word. Do you remember what I was saying? And then, just 4 days after that episode goes off, boom. 2 bombs happened in Kampala, and I was shooketh. I was like, wait, what happened? That was too quick. That was too fast. We didn't see that one coming. Who is flying over my space right now? Like every flight was just several. Anyway, that's besides the guy who is out there right now. Anywho, so the bombings happened. I was actually on my way to town the day it went down. I was headed to almost the same direction. Yo, God is good. And like a lot did go on, and it was like, Ibra, how can we explain it? Like it happened, we couldn't believe it happened, but it had happened, and we didn't know. The emotion was there. This is one thing I am getting scared about, and I'm going to talk about this, and most of you might think I'm being insensitive, but I wanted you to understand something. You remember, Ibra, back in the day, Ugandans were not used to tragedy or pain. Nga wagwawa akantu katono nnyo. Uganda yonna nesasamala yonna ne gwako, let me tell you. But as the years have kept on progressing, and I don't know who to blame this on, but as the years have kept on progressing, Ugandans don't care anymore. No, they care. But it's like we're used to so much tragedy and pain, it don't faze us no more. When these bombings went on, in the heat of the moment, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, it was all awash with, oh my God, what is happening? We were all running around like headless chicken, we were scared. And then this is what, I don't know what they would call it for those who know how to do like psychology on a big group of people, but 4 hours after the bombings, and Ugandans were making jokes. Like 4 hours into it, actually it started 1 hour when the first video went viral of the police officer asking, now what do you want the police to do? We were already cracking jokes. Before I knew it, I'm going on social and there's already memes going around like, blast me, I am your bomb. I'm like, what is wrong with Ugandans? And it made me realize we have been exposed to so much pain and so much tragedy that we do not, the emotions are there, but it's not that deep. Or look at how we were, how shooketh Uganda was with the Chadondo bombings. That was our first test of terror, man. We were scared. It took us months to actually get over that. More like actually not just months. It was like, to this day, whenever that anniversary happens, we are still, that was a big number of people that died in one night, and it was so scary. Not now. Ugandans are either used to babakubye nnyo emigo, babakubye nnyo bitiyagasi, but they have done everything to us. When you add on the police brutality that's been going on in the country, when you add on the simple fact that every time we wake up, the first thing you're going to see, before you see a doctor in my country, you see an army man. Before you see a teacher, you see a policeman. Before you see chalk, you see a gun. Before you see food, you see a gun. So it seems like we have adapted to a life where pain and tragedy are part of living. And that's scary for me. Why are you walking around here, Ibra? No, like seriously speaking, I feel like that is really scary for me. But anyway, the bombings did go on. A couple of days into it, of course, Uganda was on high alert. Anywhere you go, they're checking. Security. I have been in a car entering a crowded place. Hello, madam. Yes, hello. I would like to check you. You're like, okay, you can check. It's like, open the boot. You open the boot. Open the glove compartment. You open the glove compartment. Okay. Have a good day. That's it. Guy yagadde okuyingiza bomu agiyingiza. Bano bagayi just bayisa mukolo. Mukolo tuli kwerimba. Like that wasn't enough. Ugandans now went into a state of tugende oba tetugenda. But this is what shook me again. This is why I'm telling you, Ugandans are used to pain and tragedy. Enkeera oluvannyuma lwa bomu nali mmanyi tetugenda sanga abantu wantu wonna. Bajja kuba batya crowded spaces. Bajja kuba kikuubwa kyali kikubyeko bwe kiti. Obutale. People were still going out to bars and restaurants. I was like, wow. Uganda is different. We're not different. I think we're just used to it. But hey, that happened. I don't want to really talk about the bombing situation because there's a lot that is not explained. And coming from that, police, of course, Enanga. Enanga came out. I don't have words, but Enanga came. He did his thing. Nowadays I can't even say he's lying or he's telling the truth. I just say he's doing his thing. Nanga came out, gave us his version. Police came out, gave us their version. They told us it's the ADF officially. It's not. ADF is an affiliate of ISIS, is it? Before we know it, we are going to Congo. They knew where the enemy was. Because the Nanga came and told us in the press conferences, like, we know who this enemy is. We all know them. I was like, no, sir, I don't know them. Tell me these enemies so that I can steer clear. But anyway, clearly they knew their enemy. And now, as we speak, the UPDF is all the way up in Congo fighting the enemy. Some people are actually saying that, okay, technicalities. I'm talking to you like a layman. So apparently, the UPDF is actually in the Congo illegally because Parliament did not approve. I'm not so sure. As of when I was shooting this, I hadn't yet confirmed if Parliament approved or not. But if they did, well, my bad. If they didn't, it's not new. Uganda has like 3 different arms of government. All of them are government and they do their own thing. So it wouldn't be news that one section would say no and the other would be like, F you, we are going. So they're in the Congo. They have gone to find the ADF rebels. As that was going on, they sent a full video clip. Ibra, did you watch that clip? As like, bano bagayi bagenza okulumba abaterroristi. Ne bagenda nezi camera, nezi mic, nezi lapel, ndoza bali balina ne standby lights. It is a full production. They sent us a full video clip of bombs going off. They're like, we are fighting. I'm like, sure. You're how sure am I that where you're aiming these bombs is Damtuju? What if it is mothers, kids, and other collateral? But they were like, yeah. I'm like, wow, the government do too much. Ibra, do you believe that? Like, yeah, we are doing this. Do you think in America? America balaga ko kitono bwe babagenda eri okuba abatalibani babibalaga biwedde because they know there is a lot of technicalities. Not my country. My country gave us full evidence that we are doing this damn thing. We're doing it. But shaliao tumanyi balwana atete bazene batugamba mbu they cannot go ahead with the kulumbagana because Congo has bad roads. I'm like, yeah. That just sounds about Congo. That's Congo. They don't have anything good up there, you know. The white man made sure of that, and they're like, so we are going to halt the Kulumbagana, and we're going to first grade the roads, and then after grading the roads, we shall attack again. I'm like, If I was the ADF guys and I first see all this shenanigan of them saying tugenda kulumba, not tugenda tereze makubo, then to them stop and attack. Do you think the ADF guys are going to stay in that same place, waiting for them to be attacked? Or is this a strategy of war where they make it a decoy and they lie that we're not coming because you have bad roads, but then there's guys who are on the ground and they're going in like commandos to fish them out? Yo, pass with me here. It could be one of those things, you know. Mhosi keeps telling us our land forces are the ish. What if they're doing those things of America? Now let me go Twitter and museka. Now I'm but what if that's the situation? Anyway, they have halted fighting for a week. They are going to make roads so that the trunk, but ezo tanka chezi tasobola kuyita kukuwa. Wamanyi tanka. Wamanyi tanka. Tanka yinza no kuyita uba wa. Tukozesa tanka chezo. Because I was talking to some army buddies of mine who have actually had they've had the chance to drive one of them tanks. And they say them things is good. They're good for any terrain. Any. But I think the Congolese terrain is different. We are just watching it, we are witnessing it. We hope they do get the terrorists and, in a much more humane way. I would like to honestly send my condolences to the families of the 7 that were lost. It's a very sad situation that we end up being collateral damage. Because when I ask myself, Ibra, we don't even know why this is happening. The ADF is blaming us for some we don't even know about. You thought about that? Like how governments go out there. Excuse my French, because you keep complaining. Anyway. But these ADF guys have issues with the government. I, Tina, have no issues with the ADF, but I'm collateral damage. But I wish the government could come and tell us that, well, they are angry because of this and this and this. You'd be shocked. I think if governments would be open, not just my government, like all governments, if they could be open about the dirty deeds they do to piss off terrorists, then maybe, the Americans, it was clear. They told us why they were angry. Did they? Why were they angry? Let me not get into technicalities before all of y'all come for me in the comment section, but that happened. And I'm not going to talk about that because it is an unfolding situation. Sagala Droni and Chime, I want to first watch it and then I'll give you my comprehensive thoughts on it pretty soon. Katsoke to second. Davido for his birthday. He went to I think it was his Twitter and all his platforms, and he was like, send me money, I want to go and clear my luxury cars, taxes, and blah, blah, blah. It was a good situation, really. And in almost 1 hour, Davido had over how many million naira? In almost 2 days, Ninja was clearing money. I'm like, wow! Because one, Davido is a rich kid. He is a rich kid. When I say rich, I mean rich. But y'all gave him your money. You gave him your money. Aha. Then Palazzo. Palazzo thought he can pull the same shenanigans on us, Ugandans, who have their problems. He also asked for money. Aha. Walaba ku Twitter sentence yaweza munakubili. You people had the audacity to be sending that money and kumisatu. Ku mobile money kati charges zali meka. Waliwa bawereza olukumi. Namwe twabasima. And then he came out and did this whole rant of like, I wanted to do this and this and this. I'm like, nah, nigga, shut up. Shut up. You wanted the clout. But for Davido's sake, he says he was going to give the money to charity. With this whole situation was, especially for Palazzo, I won't speak for Davido. I was like, Palazzo, why temubuukiranga bintu bye tusobola waki tetubuukiranga bintu nga byaffe nga challenge zaffe ne tutabuukira by'abalala. It's just a genuine thought. I could say so many things about Palasso's situation, but I refused to because I made fun on Twitter about it. I was like, wow, whatever you're smoking, boo-boo. To think that we care that much, boo-boo. Yeah, actually, Palasso thought we care. Like if it was your brother, Jose. Jose tetwandi musondedde wallahi. Jose twandi musondedde omuntu waffe naawe. He has grown with us as a people. Tuveeyo neeyo. As that was happening though, I want to talk about something that's funny. Have you ever noticed mwene gwanga, lino gwanga nze njagala dibuuliza ddala ani afuga lino gwanga? Because lino gwanga bannaye batutwala kaguddeyo. Bamuli awo Museveni n'abasamoninga mujje mulabe ku State House aba Parliament. Bata munnabakiwummuza. Janet Museveni ye n'abayita ekkololo. Bata munnabakiwummuza. Muhoozi ye n'abayita muvaala. I'm just making fun of the situation, but have you all noticed that it is hard to know who we should follow? Have you ever thought about it? In this country. Because the First Lady has her own bit to it. The First Son has his own bit to it. The President has his own bit to it. And then we have these ministers who are bigger than even some people in the first family. We had people like Sam Kutesa who are bigger than the government itself. Like they could do things on their own. We have the mafia state that runs situations out of the government like they are their own government. This is not even a deep state. So, ani afunge gwanga lino? Ani? Then the trouble is like I'm with a somber mind, man. Who? So, at the beginning of COVID, you all remember hearing our president saying we are going to make our own vaccines? Mujukira. Yogamba tugenda kola vaccines ezaffe. Nsoka ne tujjayo ne ka COVID exawo ne tubakangamu ne tulowooza kiwedde. But the president kept saying we are going to make our own vaccines. Between him and his scientists, they were going to make a vaccine. So, inquiries started coming into, because it's 2 years into the pandemic, and the inquiries come in because there was money released for this said vaccine. Now, the head honcho at the top of this whole situation is none other than Dr. Musenero. Inquiry bwetandika nga bagamba there's a lot that happened with the money because everything wasn't adding up. So that's why they had to sit her down and ask her like, yo, fam, this amount of money was flagged off. We ain't seeing nothing. What's going on? But the most interesting thing that caught Ugandans off guard was when Musenero said that we use special mice. And each mouse costs 8 million. Uganda lost it. Uganda lost it. They were like, which rats are these that cost 8 million? Well, I wanted to also be part of the joke and laugh, but hey, transgenic mice are not like the city bones in your house. I'm just trying to clarify. Because when they said mice, Ugandans jumped at the thought. They're transgenic mice. They are not the city bones that are in your room. No, these ones are different. They are, wow. And it's so funny that they actually could go higher than even 8 million in their pricing. But that happened. My question though, I don't want to actually even play pretend I understand the Musenero situation, because even that, there is a lot happening in this country. We have 10,000 questions, but they will never be answered. Let me ask. They're already giving the population doses of Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Sputnik. Which other one is here? Pretty much every vaccine is coming into the country. Yeah? J&J too. And we're trying to make ours. Keep in mind, I would like to believe that Africa can reach such an ingenious situation. I want to believe that we can reach a point where we don't have to rely on the white man. Because if anything, this pandemic has shown me one thing. If this COVID had not originated from China and it had originated from Africa, wallahi, the West was going to cut us off and leave us to die. They were going to cut us off and leave us to die. Why am I saying this? Look at what happened. Wuhan, that is where the first COVID was reported, right? China went in a frenzy, the whole Western world went in a frenzy, but they did not automatically, shut down travel bans and all of that. It was a new novel virus, and they kind of handled everything very diplomatically. To this day, the whole globe is dealing with it, right? Push forward. 2 years later, the virus is mutating. So many mutations, the Delta, the this, the that. We've had the Greek alphabet all up in our faces. And then recently, Omicron happened. The very first case of Omicron that was reported outrightly, and it's like, yeah, this virus is also mutating into this, came from South Africa. What does the Western world do? The Western world just decides to go like, Africa, it came from Africa. Okay, we are going to close off Africa. They put travel bans on us just like in 2 days of it being put out there. Now, keep in mind, Africa was just trying to play its part, due diligence. They were like, hey, farm, I don't know if you've yet noticed it, but there's this variant and it's doing this and this and this and this. We thought it's right for us to tell you that it's here. Now, keep in mind, just because the South Africans actually found it and they monitored it and they reported on it, doesn't mean that it necessarily, or that it came from South Africa, or that it was only in South Africa. It could have been all over the world, and as we're speaking now, there are chances that it was actually in different parts of the world too. But because South Africa took the guts and they were like, yeah, we're going to report it. It's like this and it's like this. What did we get in return? They banned Africa. All the Western countries immediately put travel restrictions on Africa. I'm like, wait, what? So then the conversation begins online. And everybody's like, you see what the white man is doing? You see what this and this and this and this? I'm like, Africa. Now is when you want to notice this shit after 400 years. Now is when you want to notice that the white man really doesn't give two heads. Africa, you have got jokes. You have got jokes. They couldn't do this to China because they needed China. And they respect the Chinese. But they managed to put travel restrictions on you 2 days before they could even find out if it's a deadlier mutation, if it does this, if it does that. No, they were just like, travel ban, we ain't doing this with y'all. But then keep in mind, there's some countries that are blaming us and banning us from being with the rest of the world are the same countries that hoarded vaccines at the height of the pandemic. They were like, yeah, we have so much, but we are not going to give you because, we care for ours. And I can't blame them because that's how it's supposed to be. Each nation is supposed to cater for theirs. I blame the African rulers who haven't yet noticed this. These guys refuse to give you your own vaccines. They refuse to give you the patents to make your own vaccines. You are at their mercy. They are giving you the same vaccines at 2 times higher the price. And 2 years into the pandemic, Africa has not yet sat down as a collective to think like, oh, well, what can we do as Africans? Why can't we get a couple of, different scientists as a continent and try to do something for us? No, what are we doing? We are crying wolf. Oh, they're cutting us off from the world. Oh, they're travel banning us. Oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. I am so disgusted with Africa at times. How much louder do you want the West to be? They really don't care about you. They really don't. And they won't respect you either because you have leaders who don't respect their own countries. And I feel like this would have been the perfect time for Africa to unite as a people. Not just as, for us we're in this section of Africa, East Africa, no. And for us we're here, South Africa, no. As a people, as a continent, this was the perfect time for us to unite. We didn't. Every country was just struggling to be nicer to the West. If Uganda was begging rudely, Kenya on the other side would be like, what we were supposed to do was we were supposed to unite. We didn't. Now they're treating us like the scum of the earth again, 400 years later, like they did before. And we're still complaining. I'm not going to talk about the Pan-Africanism this time. I'm tired. Because these are things that our leaders are supposed to see. But better yet, our leaders are not from heaven. Our leaders are voted into power by us. So if your leaders are not seeing these things, it kind of pretty much means that y'all didn't see them either, because you chose leaders that are not going to see these things. Now, of course, we can't say that for people who have leaders they didn't choose, especially like people who voted for a different leader and got different ones, and the ones who also have army leaders. And I understand you, but still, you do understand that governments are just an enterprise. They're like a group of people who govern an entire nation. Let's just use the simple basic understanding of one and many. Who has more power? It's the many. The majority will always have the power. But somehow we have been brainwashed into believing that the minority, which is the government, has more power. But I believe we have so much power. We can change how Africa is looked at. We can change how each of our different countries are looked at. We can change so much, but we just have to believe that we have that much power. I do not know why, who told us that we don't have that much power. It's just sickening. But anyway, it's happening. There's travel bans and travel restrictions on almost everything African. And yet these ninjas already had this same variant running around in their countries. Wake up, Africa. Wake up. I don't want to be the one giving you the wake-up call. We've all given the wake-up call. I can't do that anymore. But that's happening. So Musenero and Hamais and the whole situation is also tied up in there. Vaccine, it is for the coming generations. Guys, I'm just asking, because it's still a good investment. Which as Kambuze, Ibra, would you take the Ugandan vaccine for COVID? Why? You don't trust it. Why wouldn't you trust it? They are scientists too. The president has trusted these scientists for 2 years. Your numbers of COVID have been down. Could have been political, it could have been, a Hail Mary pass, but why wouldn't you trust them? And that's a question we need to be asking. Why don't we trust anything made by us? Okay, you know the answer to that. Let's keep moving. Project Nalubale. But seriously speaking, let's be honest. I think I am with Team Ibra. Because this whole vaccine project, I am Senator, do you know what it is called? Project Nalubale. Dawa. It just sounds too heavy. Like ogenda wankuberi ya Nalubale. Damn. Let's keep it moving though. You all saw that our presidential advisors finally got that supplementary budget. Uganda. When the story first leaked that they wanted that money, I thought it wasn't going to come through, but Bagai Bafuna sent never presidential advisor. Apparently, the Balam Achalia. What does Balam help in this government? Huh? Bafuna sent. Second na yafuna. Simaba never full figure baba. Bafuna. Achakuba kerere. Tebamuwa. Osagane no government now. Osaganga nechirala si government ya Museveni. What are you saying? They got that money. What I want to ask, when the government wants supplementary budgets and wants monies for weird things that are not even necessities, zirabika. Huh? But when something as small as, like, let's say, our basketball team wants to go and play basketball to represent the country, it cannot afford it. We have to first call Muhozi, and then Muhozi calls his mother and then reminds her that, Mommy, you are the minister in charge of sports. Please help us, ask Daddy and the other ones to release some money so that abana bafete baswala. Nga tuswade ne basketball team yafe. If okuswala mwana atefe tuswala home and away. Bana tuaba twale Kigali. And Kigali felt sorry for us. They hosted them on Banje until we got the money. When it comes to things like we need money to open up schools safely, so that we can stop all this madness of keeping our kids home for 2 years in a pandemic. Tezirabika. Sibula. Naye bageze bagambe mbuba minister beetaaga emmotoka empya. Wallahi, it will be the same amount as one ministry needs to run an entire situationship. The cars will be got, the schools will stay closed. Like, our priorities as a nation, they humble me. They really, really do humble me. And I think I need to understand what leadership is in the African terms. We need to stop looking at leadership in its entirety. Let's start looking at leadership in the African terms, because wow, that budget went out and I'm like, now why are you giving Sekandi anything? To do what? Bala. To do what? Sente zabwe zavaayo. Bazirya nze no government. Sikyayagala na kuyomba because kati bava mu kuswala bali mwe. Tukola bitusanyula munagamba ki? What will you say? Are you going to stand up and say no? There's that viral video of Kanari Mugume. His wife actually posted it on her Instagram, getting out of a car with, you know, it was a brand new bazita bati ampenkoni. Yeah, I know, bodyguardi, ne driver. She snapped it and put it up and the TL was lit. The TL was very, very lit. They wanted to know what ups with Kanari and why is he getting that much? You know, that situation could be interpreted in so many ways. What if he had gone to see a government official and the government official had told him, it is okay, let my boys drop you home? What if his car broke down and the government official was like, it is okay, let my boys drop you home? What if he's just big with the government and they decided, give him those things, he deserves them. He always interviews the president. Which begs the question, when did Kanari become our biggest news anchor? Have you people ever asked yourselves that? He's the one interviewing the president. I was watching a clip with Isma. Isma made some really fun comments. Just the other day, Juicy, Kanari was a nobody. I have watched Kanari grow. And this is not me even sour graping. But I don't think I can put him in the same class as the good journalists that I know. Larry Madao, all these other journalists within East Africa and Africa in general. I don't think he's even there yet. We have seen better. But this boy has climbed the ranks in a very... His wedding cost 1 billion. UGX. Honor civils math. I engage in a farm. 1 billion. Ibra, you and me have worked in television for a very long time. And we know how much news anchors earn, don't we? Don't we? Even the senior ones. We know there's a threshold. And we also know that Kanari came straight from the village into Kampala not so long ago. I know people who went to school with him and they came on the same bus to Kampala with Kanari. But he has apartments. This same ninja once lived at the penthouse suite of one of the biggest hotels for almost 2 years. That was his residency. I'm like, Like the math is never really mathing with Kanari. The science doesn't science. The math doesn't math. But then again, I will tell you, like I said last time, this is an animal farm. And not all animals are equal. Use that information how you see fit. Tuveye wa Kanari. Kubanga, Bami Samson Kasumba yagwa ku accident. Yaba na Uganda mwine mpisa MB. Mwine mpisa MB. Instead of you going to that man's TL and saying, we are sorry, y'all were making... Why am I even laughing? What were you tweeting anagamba banai? Omusajja yali atugamba mbu amakubo ga Uganda malungi nnyo NRM ekoze binene ate amakubo tegamusudde ku accident. Like, was that even necessary? Omusajja yali awana NRM mumuleke. And I don't even know. Then someone attacked him by saying, you have a helmet, but you always put it at the back of your border. Because you want people to see you on your BMW bike riding. I'm like, but guys, that is below the belt. What if the guy just doesn't like wearing his helmet? What if his head doesn't fit in the helmet? What if he's claustrophobic? You'll be going down below the belt with these things. Well, I feel sorry for Samson. I hope he has healed. He didn't. But he's still coming on TV with his cars and all of that. He's not on TV? Oh, wow. Wow. Well, we wish him, you know, I want a mango. I cannot wear protective gear because at his age, you can work out and do many things and think you're stable and fit, but you see, 50 can never be 20. Then if you do what? 50 will never be 20. 60 will definitely never be 25. Are you crazy? Motoka jo ali osobola okuvuga ku 20, ochasobola jivuga ku 52. Someone explained to me. So Bugingo and Teddy failed to get their divorce because Teddy said, nah, it ain't happening. Oli musajja wange. You know that Muganda nonsense. I'm sorry to stereotype, but you all understand where I'm coming from. But Bugingo went ahead and he has his same chani. What's her name? Susan. Makula. Go gali Makula genyini. Makula genyini. Watuli awo last week, they did kuchala. Mbandi awo ne baleta kakiripu nga Bugingo agamba, I think it was last week. Ngagamba abantu Makula ali kuntwale wabwo okwanjula. I'm like, what you? Wherever Susan is right now, Teddy must be punching the air right now, like how dare they? My question to Teddy is, Ofachi mkwana. How about you just go and get a divorce and get her for this shit, because that's good stuff. One, he fornicated legally, I know. You can get a lot more of his, because he fornicated in the marriage. The evidence is out there, mluatu. How many years has it been? 3 years? 3 years and you're still holding on to a man who has deliberately shown you he is done. Mama, sika family. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to fight for. Teddy, what do you want? What do you want? I wish I could come out and tell us something else other than, oh, bufumbo bwa mukama. Mukama yabuvuddemu. Mukama yabuvuddemu obubone Bugingo yabufamuda. Ali mu bwa Bugingo ne Susan. Wochali eyo, you're kicking rocks, walking off short cliffs every day, hanging yourself on tomato vines, thinking, what do you think is her thought process? Started from the bottom, now we're here. We are human beings. Susan, my advice to Teddy is one, go to the laws, get your share, go. Get you a young cowboy. He doesn't even be. Okay, if you want to just piss him off, you can also get yourself a young boy, or you can get yourself a mature adult man who loves you and respects you, and it's not a showbiz situation. But keep moving, girlfriend. Like, move. These people are out here deliberately you were kicked out of the church so fast nobody remembers your name even. You started this church with this man, and now the church called Susan Mama. Where are the Mama? Come on now, Swaza, you have better worth than this, Teddy. Chite. This command is just not worth your dignity and your pride. You have a lot more. You are a good woman. I think someone needs to tell Teddy that every day, that she is worthy of respect, she is worthy of love, she is worthy of a lot more than what Bugingo has to offer. Empisa kazikweka kukatuti, na kukatuti tazikweka ku. But these are men who are not raised. Bekuza. Waliwo okuzalibwa n'okuzibwa waliwo n'okwekuza. Oyo beba bo pastor baby wempe. They are from nothing. But now you have established yourself, you have something. Why do you want to throw it all away? Simply because you still want to claim you are a wife. But now the way I look at Bugingo, if I was the wife, and he did this shit to me, that would be my get out of jail free card. I would never want to be associated to a person that contradictory. Never. Someone work Teddy up, give that man that divorce. I don't know if you have finally given it to him because that's why he's going ahead. Wait, can he marry 2 women? Legally where? Where? Mchachi zabalokole chisoboka. She has to grant him divorce first for him to, so they are just going to keep playing around with Dr. Kwanjula. Then after Kwanjula, they first sit there, mpaka Teddy bwanerowoza. Bwanerowoza, then bagende mumbaga. Teddy, guy muwechi divorce omuvide, twala amayumba, twala buli choyagala, go away mpeta. Who advises these people who come up from nothing? You see, that's a problem. When they come from nothing, they stay with that nothing mentality. My country also shocks me, but I no, it doesn't shock me anymore. I'm used to this shit. Ibra, that clip of the guy selling senene on Uganda Airlines went viral. I had so many questions, fam. I had so many questions. I was like, first of all, how smart and ingenious is this guy to beat all those security checks to come with a blue kavera of grasshoppers? Pomanya kavera ka blue ekenkana. Akavera ka blue bakatunda sirinjiru 10 e Kampala. Kagendamu ebisawo nga 8 ebyensenene. That guy had them on the flight. Ngate yaleteddemu n'obwokuservinga, like. And then Uganda Airlines had the audacity to put out a press release, and they're like, we do not condone this, we are going to add insenene on our menu, blah blah blah. Can we all be honest that there is someone in Uganda Airlines who let this ninja on that flight with those insenenes? Can we be honest? Why are we trying to play pretend? Then they want to pretend that here ba musibye, but musiba wachi. Musiba ya mukirizo bisa, because it takes a certain type of audacity for someone to come on flight with cooked goods and pay. Someone allowed him to do that. That's the person he was supposed to. Never Uganda Airlines. Call me unpatriotic. The flight I am not taking is Uganda Airlines. I think I will take it when it is under entirely new management in a different government. And oba na if you guzaba China. Na if you guzaba China unandijitula. Ebya airport ne mubimbuza. China is saying this, Uganda is saying that, the middle people are saying this. So we don't know who has our airport or who doesn't. But Matia Kasaija came out and he said, yeah, there were some loopholes. There were some loopholes in the I don't know about your fam, but I just came here to say, the world is still going round, Uganda is still being the way it is, and we are loving it. Ibra, do you have anything else you want to talk about this time? I haven't seen anything interesting. I have not seen anything interesting that has got me out of my position like, Uganda has done this. In these 2 weeks? Wapi? Nothing. But it is coming to end of year. It's about to get interesting. These next 2 weeks. Because it is what it is. I don't have anything else. Ibra, so y'all remember y'all remember when the president was angry with Facebook? Facebook tuina soka genda kuzi VPN. Sicho yanyiga nyo, you were playing around with his accounts. He was locked out of his accounts. His people were also blocked out of his accounts. What was his name? Toothpick Kato. Yeah, agenda wa ashibag. But there were people who made so much noise for us during the campaign season. Valiwa. Huh? Oh no, yeah, Isma, but Isma nga yavume chalo chona. Isma, you were my friend, but nange bianso bera. Isma yavuma buli chiramu during the campaign season. But now you people should stop undressing for money like this. Isma yavuma buli chiramu mu campaign. Babala mwabo bani, bafulu figure, bafuma buli chiramu. Now we're talking about Ashbag Kato is mumukebera ko mwana ayinza kubanga afenjala by the way. Ayinza kubanga yafira mu nyumba nga tete tukimanyi kuba yasirika nnyo. Isma ate kati ye mulaba mu kifo ky'okukuba ffe be yali akubanga aba people power abasimanya opposition aba just Isma ye yali akuba anyone who doesn't believe in the presidency or the government. No ate kati ate yasiiba abayimba. Sibi bamuma sente kati ali mu comedy mwerere bakamusiba emirundi nga 10. Recently he said some insensitive stuff when the bombings went off and they picked his ass up, but then he was released on bail. And I said, who is our ruler? But anyway, still talking about that whole the whole situation with Isma and them and all of that and Facebook. So Twitter, I think it was on Monday. Which day was it? Twitter came out and said this. We have removed a network of 418 accounts engaged in coordinated inauthentic activity in support of Ugandan presidential incumbent Museveni and his party, National Resistance Movement. Hey, I'm like, what? 418? Because I was looking at other countries. In Tanzania, they actually removed 268. In Venezuela, it was 277. Uganda, for some reason, had 418. But now, on Facebook, Twitter. But you know how embarrassing it is for a whole country, not just because this is not just Uganda. There are all those countries named. Kubanga, if you want to know why, and I'm glad Twitter did this, I just hope he doesn't get too sly and think he can also get us off Twitter, and that will be a different conversation. But think about it. 418 accounts. I want you to put this in mind. When you go on Twitter, go check under any tweet from the government, go check under any tweet from the president's account, or go check under any tweet from the First Son's account, and look at the people who comment on those accounts, and look at the comments on those accounts. I saw that thing and I was like, Twitter, thank you. We couldn't. We much obliged. 418 accounts of just people on Twitter threatening, ass kissing, shouting, making noise, all in favor of a government. Let me see what y'all is trying to say. If your government was so proper and everything was going on right and everything is okay, and we voted in such huge numbers and we love the government and the presidency, why are they flagging 480 accounts over inauthentic messages being put out on Twitter? Because when the whole election went down, he won by a landslide majority. It was 60 what? 70%. And twebaka tuliku 21 twazukuka, it is only 60 something. That is a huge percentage, which means the opposition should be really so small that it should not even be significant. But when reports like this come out, I'm like, why are you sending people out to speak on behalf of your goodness? It should be anonymous. You know, we should all be singing one song, holding hands, singing Kumbaya. Hey, 418. Kati njagala genda konda be muhozi bwana tweetinga abanadamu. Omanyi kulika abasiru. They can defend any stupidity on that account. I'm like, how much are they paying you? An iPhone and sent and makers. But nah. Ibreza sente dafe wachite bazitu tugulewo account endala. Tulie atoba bnayi. You can't beat them, join them. I see. Hell no. Not God forbid. Thunder fire you. But that was just so beautiful. Which other platform do you think needs to gag us and ban us, Ibra? Zinjagola zonna zitugagging, zitubanning. Then I want the government to come out and tell us, you see, these Westerners are just jealous. They are just bad. They don't understand. They don't understand what? 418 accounts. Do you know what it means for the whole of Twitter? That is global. To sit down and count out, they're like 1, 2, 3, but no number. Do you know what it means? I just loved it. I'm not even going to go in depth. I just want to see how it will go. But we all know bagenda kugula wendala sicho. Bagenda sasolo bwana bwa campus obutaina byakola. iPhone no sente bwe butyo. Badde ku page ya muhozi bamuwane. Our next president, the one coming, the one going, the one here. You people have hyped Muhoozi up so much. Eh? I would like to be a part of that if it was budget abatia. I would like to be a part of that election where Muhoozi is on the ballot. It would be interesting because, yeah, it will be interesting indeed. People like Don Wanyama. Don Wanyama's entire soul being is his Muhoozi project situation. Bala, my president, to be. Kuba Kalulu Uganda. They don't know Gambaji. Kalulu, Kerere. This China Navigambo Biamwet is the year is ending. Sagala Kuchimi what do I don't want to be picked up by a drone. Oh, big shout out to everybody in Entebbe. I finally moved to Entebbe. I have a few things I want to talk about. What happened to all the street lights in Entebbe? Dear Mayor, I took the time out to drive in the fancy parts of Entebbe, and the street lights are there, but there are just no lights. What's happening with that? But overall, I love the town. It's a beautiful place. I just can't stand the fact that the one thing that everybody in Entebbe tells you, just don't talk to anybody because everybody is in Ngambano. Banaya majegali Entebbe. Nalimanye Kampala batunonya Ibra toja Entebbe. Drone ndoza ziva Entebbe. Wow! Barracks ziri Entebbe. Buli dakika ssatu wamajja kuyitako, wa police akuyitako, wamajja kuyita. Hey! Chiri eri on the roads. It is only America's moving. Your neighbor, his neighbor, their neighbor, and their neighbor's neighbor, whose neighbor is a neighbor, are all part of the army. I'm like, did I make the right choice? For a very outspoken person, I live very close to a barracks. If I'm not... But I'd like to say, man, so far so good. I love the area. I love the people in Entebbe. So beautiful. I don't know abantu be Kampala mulina wano wanji. In Entebbe, everybody has skillfully mastered the art of minding their own business, and they're polite. They're cordial. I just love it. I do. I think I'm going to start shooting my random thoughts at the beach. Ibro, what you say? Tugende ku mazzi nawe. Bansuddeyo. Mu mazzi. Baby, you know Chusembera now. But yeah, I'm loving the town, and I'd like to officially say, man, thank you Entebbe for being super nice. I hope you'll stay this nice, minding your business and just being an awesome town. It's just nice. Yeah. And this proud episode was brought to you by our new sponsor, who's going to be with us for quite some time. You can always head out to them in case you want consulting services in business analysis, disruptive technologies for cross-border trade, and of course, project management solutions. It is Siva Global Solutions. If you want to get any information about them, it's quite simple. Go to our link in the description below, and that you'll have their email address and anything that you want from them right there. Don't forget, they offer services in business analysis, disruptive technologies for cross-border trade and project management. And as usual, we are shooting this episode from none other than Estella Country Gardens, in case you want a place that is quaint and quiet and beautiful and calm and just overall with a good feeling. And now it is the festive season. They have so much happening. Just take some time out, come out to Estella Country Gardens and see what they have to offer for the festive season, and most importantly, for all your lodging needs, for all your good food needs, and for, tranquility. Come out to Estella Gardens.